Assalamu alaikum. This is Planet FM 87.6. I'm the host Tanveer, and today our guest is Dr. Jasim Anwar, Sector Specialist, Planning Commission of Pakistan. You are welcome in the studio.
Thank you so much for having me in this program.
So we will discuss today about World Environment Day, which is celebrated on 5th June every year. What is your opinion about this day? How we are celebrating it? What are the responsibilities?
First of all, thank you very much for having me on this very important day that we celebrate every year on 5th of June. Well, first I would like to talk about the theme that every year is changed to try to cover and encompass all the broader aspects of the environment. So this year, the theme, as you may know, is restoration of the land and building the healthy communities and resilient systems. So in this context, the one aspect that why we are doing this program is one, awareness creation. That the message should go across all the masses, especially those who are living in remote areas, because environmental sustainability and environmental preservation is not just the responsibility of the government officials or the ministries. It is the every individual, every human being responsibility. Now the question is how we build the resilient systems. So when we talk of the resilient systems, first we need to think who are the main contributors and the factors that affect the environment at large. One major aspect that you may come across is your carbon emission. Because that carbon emission affects the the climatic change, the greenhouses. So this is one thing that the policymakers are looking into it, especially at the planning level, and all the ministries they are working on it. For example, the other day we were talking about how the carbon footprint is being measured. And the carbon footprint measurement is not done in Pakistan, but in other parts of the world. Each building, each institution, each organization is measured by how much carbon emission that institution is emitting. So the target is that by 2030, all the institutions should be net zero carbon emitting institution. So because this is related to sustainable development goals also. So when you talk of the net zero carbon emission, this concept is new in Pakistan. I'm not new. I'll say this is the old concept. The people are not very much aware of it. Say I take the example of like PTV, radio, and all other institutions. Are we net zero carbon emitting institution? No. So what are the factors that will change this perception of the environment preservation through zero carbon emission? This is the journey that I'm trying to make the listeners and the viewers understand that the environment is the broader context. It is everything around you. It's not only trees. It's not only that we stop using plastic bags. It is the way how we think about our surroundings. Each plant has its own contribution. Each flower that we put in is their own place. How we live our life is directly related to the environment. Say, for example, if I'm given the option that I should buy something from the market, so it is my responsibility also that I take a plastic bag or I take a cotton bag, a cloth bag that we used to do in our, few years back. Even our parents, they used to carry paper, a cotton bag.
Cotton bag, everybody was taking.
Everybody was taking,
going to the bazaar and
then taking it. So that's the way we should.
There was also the envelope of the paper envelope.
Paper envelope was also used to be there.
So,
and somehow we shift to this, plastic things, but now the regulations part. So in Islamabad there was a regulation passed that there should not be any plastic bag sold in any big malls. I mean, it's a very good initiative. But yet at the same time, you think only this plastic bag is contributing to the sewage draining or any other blockages that is happening? And it's entire plastic industry. So when we talk of the entire plastic industry and then stopping the usage of these plastic bags, then the question comes, like, is it effective that we take the employment from certain group of the people who are engaged in this occupation? So this is, it's called, providing the alternate employment opportunities to those who are engaged with those, employment related institutions or those occupations that somehow affect the environment. So first is to create alternate opportunities for them, then creating a legislative environment, and then enforcing the regulations gradually. This is one angle. The other angle is educating the people, because it has to go parallel.
Actually, Pakistan, we have been witnessing for the long time that we have been making very perfect laws to address the issues. And recently, the Punjab government has banned the use of the plastic bag from today. That nobody is allowed, even the administration has been directed to take action against those who are the sellers. But this is sudden step taken by the Punjab government. Although it is appreciable, but there must be given a certain period to go to the alternate side, how they could use their industry other than plastic, whether that can be shifted to other, and the employment of the worker can be ensured. So the government should, although the government take such steps, which is appreciated by the people, but your point is very much important, that what about the people who are engaged with that industry? So the next one I will ask you about how we can restore the land. It is the part of the theme of this year. So what steps are required to be taken? How we can restore the land? How we can naturalize the land?
Yeah. Well, I would like to respond to both of your comments. In fact, this was a question. But before that, you mentioned that the Punjab government has taken a very good initiative, and it's very worth appreciating. But unless we know how it was implemented, for example, I'm pretty sure, the Madam Mariam Nawaz Sahaba is very visionary and very energetic with her leadership, and she is the legacy of the her parents and other main contributors of the political regime change. But the question also comes that sometime you take a big action, a big change that addresses the majority, whereas a very minor segment of the population may have to suffer for a bigger cause.
Sure.
And I'm sure that the government of Punjab is taking some steps to provide the alternate employment opportunities for them, and they are doing research and development, especially for biodegradable bags, which are normally made of some products, some natural elements that even if you throw, they degrade after some time.
That is also being used by the chemist, I think.
Exactly. So that's one thing. The other aspect is the restoration of the land. Restoration, number one, is first in stopping the poor urban planning. Uh, the concept of land restoration is related to the how much water a soil can absorb. So it's called, the water absorption capacity of the land. In urban planning laws across the world, there is a certain portion of the land, say in proportion to the overall city, that you have to keep it uncemented, like grassed,
Yeah.
so that the water capacity to absorb should remain optimum.
Oh.
You must have seen an incidence of E11, when there was a flooding, and the flash floods and the heavy rains suddenly caused a rise in the water level in those streams, and then they affected and they destroyed a lot of properties, and even we suffered some human losses. The reason was that the sectoral plans of that particular area, the water sewerage water drainage capacity was reduced because the ratio was not maintained, that how much should be cemented part, how much depth should be we give to the water and all those things. So this concept relates to the land restoration. Land restoration, number one, stopping the further abandoned aggressive house planning. Number two is promoting the urban regional development, rural economies. Why our population is growing towards the urban center is very much related to that. When people lack the employment opportunities in the rural areas,
The native areas.
yes, and when they don't have access to the quality food, quality education, quality health, and there's no employment opportunities, they in search of a good living standard, they come for urban areas. So this is number one. For to restoration of the land in urban areas, you need to first promote the rural economies, and then connect them with the urban centers and urban areas through improved transportation systems.
Roads, infrastructure.
Roads, infrastructures, trains, for that matter. I mean, I used to study in Sydney when I was doing my PhD. And I was living about an hour and a half away from main campus. But it was so comfortable in the morning. I used to take the train, and the whole journey was so comfortable. I used my laptop, to study the articles and do my assignments on the way while going to the university. And it was no shame. And in my town, where I was living, about 1.5 hours away, I had access to all the basics, good quality facilities. So this is one thing. The other thing is, the damage that has already been done. Say the urbanization, the high-rising infrastructure, so we can actually enforce and educate people for plantation. So, for example, there's a road construction going on. The government is making certain steps to ensure that the green belts are now maintained. Similarly, the other areas where there has been unnecessary constructions on a vertical side. So the government and the other agencies are enforcing that we should instead go for the this horizontal spread.
High-rise buildings.
We go for a high-rising buildings. That will be more land saving. It will be cost effective, and so many other things that can be done towards this land restoration. So this is what I think we are in the right direction.
How much the role of the forestation in the country? The government should take the steps to expand it, and how we can motivate the people also, and their contribution can be ensured.
Yes. So, this is when I mentioned about the land and the soil ratio for, the cemented land and the mud area for certain communities in certain areas, the same as the forest ratios. Each country should have a certain portion of the land as a forest to maintain the ecosystem.
25% of the land should be in forest shape.
Yes, should be. I'm not sure exact percentage, but it is, in some countries even it's more than that.
Even in America there is 36%.
Yes.
Forest area.
Yes, to maintain the forest area at a certain level is very much necessary to maintain the ecosystem. Because, the carbon emission chain, the global warming, the climatic change, the environmental degradation, they're all interlinked. So deforestation and improving the forest, stopping the deforestation and improving the forestation, there are certain steps that we can take. So the government is already doing it, because every year you see we have these environment and plantation campaigns in February.
Actually, the government is also doing this too, particularly in February and also in July also. But the participation of the masses is not as much as we desired. So you will not get the result until the masses are involved, and they should take responsibility. They should take ownership of this land, that this is our land and we have to build it up.
Exactly, very much important, because you see, the government has its presence in certain areas.
It's
just a policy, or even at the delivery level, we don't have we can't compare. The government can't compare the impact of the community drive or at the mass level when the whole movement is going on. That's very much critical.
When we were in school in Islamabad, 1973 and 74, we are in 9th and 10th class. So when the spring season comes, we all were taken by the school administration to for plantation outside Islamabad. And there are a lot of areas where we have done the plantation. But today, the university students, schools, and college level students, they should be brought to the sites. The government should arrange.
Of course.
We should also arrange they should be given area of every school. They should take their children to that area and to make the plantation over there. So participation is the only way to overcome this issue.
Very much true. As far as plantation is concerned at the mass level, you rightly mentioned the role of academic institutions in that. As far as some of the private sector institutions and very few government institutions, students, they take them to deforestation sites and plant the trees indirectly. Basically, it's a symbolic, activity that educate the children the importance of the plantation. But very rightly said that, the public sector schools and the universities, if the government takes this policy decision that this year we will celebrate the plantation day across the country, and each private and public school, college and university should take and do arrangements to take their students to the various sites identified.
That should be identified by the government.
Yes, and then facilitate them by either provision of some trees or seeds or whatever is feasible at that point in time. I'm sure this will have a huge impact on this change.
Within 5 years, you will,
of course,
make your land green.
Exactly. So this is one thing. Another thing that we can do, in many places, the government has its presence in terms of various offices. So take, for example, the deputy commissioner offices and commissioner offices and all the other line departments and the line ministries that have its own staff. So they should make this mandatory that each employee should plant at least one. At least one. So imagine that on one side the school children are planting, universities are planting, the government employees are planting. To 2 to 3 years, you will see a very positive change.
Sometime back, I have read somewhere in, I think, newspaper anywhere, that there is tradition in China that when a family give a birth a child, that family goes to the somewhere in the tree, somewhere in forest area or garden, and they plant one tree. They want that there must be oxygen source for that child.
Yes, very critical. Yes.
But here in Pakistan, when a son is born, we cut the tree and make the
Yes.
food.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
So we should also, I think, educate the people, and it must be educated in the institutions, and even the mosque can play a vital role to promote the sense of plantation, forest in the
And the
area.
importance of planting
The other
trees.
point is that in Pakistan we are in the hard areas. There is no alternate energy source for the people. They are forced to cut the trees and use in their day-to-day use. So government should also provide the LPG on a very cheaper rate so that they can afford those people, because there is no such a stronger source of earning in that area, and they ultimately rush to the cities, or even they leave for country abroad to earn much money for to pass their life, to educate their children. The other point is also, I think we should discuss, but we will take a break for some time, then we'll come back again to start our discussion over it.